Welcome to another installment in our executive interview series. I'm Kevin Kermis, and today I am joined by Mike Del Ponte of BranchOut, and we're going to be talking about some practical advice to get better results in networking. A little bit about Mike. He is responsible for user acquisition at BranchOut. Previously, he served as the founder and CEO of SparkSeed, a global nonprofit that accelerates and invests in the most promising student social entrepreneurs. Mike's leadership and marketing skills earned SparkSeed a Financial Times Social Innovation Award and recognition in the Wall Street Journal, Fast Company, CNN, and other leading media sources. Mike has degrees from both Boston College and Yale University. Mike, welcome.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, let's dive right into it. What are some of the biggest mistakes you see made when it comes to networking?
You know, there are three big things that always jump out at me and always surprise me. And the first thing is that people just don't network. It's actually amazing. Some people have a negative connotation in their head when they hear networking, and they just don't want to be associated with it. They don't understand that it's really about relationship building and helping each other. And so they don't engage, and other folks, they just don't make it a priority to go outside of their friends and family group and really get to know the amazing people that are out there. And so I think that that's the first thing, is that some folks just aren't yet engaged or in the game, and making some really small tweaks and making it a priority will make a big difference for them. The second thing that I would say is that a lot of people have trouble following up. So we all go to conferences, we go to events, and there's a lot of energy and excitement, and there's a sense that having met someone, things are going to get done. But they don't get done unless there's that follow-up email or follow-up phone call and ongoing building of the relationship. So that's one thing that I've seen, that there's a large room for improvement if people just were more diligent about following up. And the last thing is that a lot of people, when they think of networking, they think about what can I get? And really it's the exact opposite. Everyone should be focused on how can I help this other person? How can I add value?
You know, that last piece is extremely important, I think, for folks who may be, the reluctant or erstwhile networker. And I'm reminded in one of the other interviews I've done in this series that most of the people who are really looking for advice, I'm sure there are folks listening to this series who want to tweak their networking, but I would imagine the lion's share of folks are looking for advice on how to do it because they're reluctant to do it, apprehensive. And one of the things you're hitting on there, and it's something I talk to clients about all the time, is if you find yourself in that category, lead with trying to help other people out. First of all, it's the most genuine thing you can do. I mean, if nothing else, you should feel good at the end of the day. If you don't, there are probably some issues there that go beyond networking. But I think that the reciprocity that comes as a result of networking and building relationships, and not that that's why you should do it, but it'll happen.
Yeah, and Kevin, one thing I'd say too is lead with that. It's amazing. At SparkSeed, what I was doing was basically helping young entrepreneurs get businesses off the ground. And it was all about getting meetings, whether it was investors or advisors or future employees. And they would send these very long emails that were almost always about themselves and their business. And what I would highly recommend to each one of them was keep the email incredibly short, let the person know you're not going to waste their time, and tell them right up front why you want to have that meeting and how it might be helpful to them.
Absolutely. Well, along those same lines, what are three things that you would recommend someone could do today to become more effective at networking?
The biggest thing for me is that I actually schedule networking, which sounds very formal, but in fact, really that just means being intentional about how I spend my time. So, for example, this morning I went to the gym with a friend and we talked business. I had a habit that in the past was probably the biggest thing for me, which is everyone's got to eat lunch. So schedule lunches with people and make it easy for yourself. Do it at the same time, one of a few restaurants right by your office, and spend 30 to 60 minutes with someone new each day. It could also be in terms of grabbing coffee or drinks after work, whatever works best for your schedule, going to networking events or sharing meals with people, working out, worshiping. Whatever it is, we do so many of these activities, and we don't realize that if we just pick up the phone and invite someone, it's a great way to network, and in fact, a much better way to build a relationship. Sharing a meal or going and working out together as opposed to just going to networking events. The second thing that I would say is to make introductions. This is something that's so easy and so valuable, is whenever you meet someone, this just happens kind of automatically for me, and it's a great habit to cultivate, is think, who could I introduce this person to that would really help them out a lot? And shoot them an email intro, and it's really incredible. You could spark lifelong friendships or business partnerships. It's very easy, and everyone appreciates it. And then the third thing I would say is to establish leadership. And it's always funny, I do a lot of speaking, and the person in the front of the room has so much more interest and respect and authority than everyone else in the room. And if that same person were to just sit in the back of the room, no one would notice him or her. But by being in the front of the room, everyone wants to get to know that person. And so there's something very interesting about leadership. And there are a variety of ways that you could establish it. It could be simply your title at your business. It could be that you're an expert by blogging or doing public speaking. Whatever it is, if there's a way for you to establish yourself as a leader, it's going to make it much easier because people will seek you out as opposed to trying to get meetings.
You know, one of the things that I share with folks all the time is that I think it's fundamental in your career to be a hub for information, and whether that is facilitating informational flow like you're talking about in terms of making introductions, providing content that's specific to your industry or your niche, and I think that leadership point, even if folks don't think about themselves as being a formal leader, you can very quickly become an informal leader and find that everybody knows you simply because, and this goes back to what we were talking about before, you're helping other people out. And it's a very, very simple thing to do.
That's a great point. There's a book on networking called Love is the Killer App, APP. And in it, the author, who's a great networker, says that networking comes down to three things: sharing your connections, sharing your knowledge, and sharing yourself. And the sharing the knowledge thing is really important. It could just be that you know the best place to eat, or it could be that you're an industry leader. It could be that you provide intellectual or spiritual advice. Whatever it is, you're right. If you have that intellectual capital, people are going to see you as a leader.
Well, any additional comments or resources that you would provide or recommend to folks looking to become better networkers?
Yeah, two. I'd say online, of course, BranchOut, which is the company that I recently joined. BranchOut is the professional networking service on Facebook. At the time of this recording, it's been exploding. I don't know if you've noticed this, Kevin, but just day over day, the amount of users we're getting is incredible. There was just an article yesterday that came out saying BranchOut could be bigger than LinkedIn. So I would simply recommend that people check it out. Go to BranchOut.com and give it a try.
Yeah, I would say the same thing as well. I mean, from our initial conversation, I got hooked up and started using it on Facebook, and I have not even I've only scratched the surface on it. And it's been amazing to see how many people I know who are tied in with it, and it's a great application.
Well, thanks for saying that. Yeah, and I don't want to push it too hard because I think that people just get on it and see its value, and really, especially this week, it's just very much skyrocketed. So that will certainly be something that's on everyone's radar, and I would check it out for an online resource. And as far as just offline, my favorite book is the classic Never Eat Alone by Keith Ferrazzi. It's just a must-read. It's all about adding value, building relationships, and so anyone who wants to get started in networking or become a better networker, pick up Never Eat Alone.
Well, great. Hey, I, again, appreciate you taking time out to chat with us. What is the best way for people to reach you if they'd like to talk with you directly?
Folks can just email me directly at mike@branchout.com, or they can sign up for BranchOut and connect with me there.
Okay, fantastic. Well, hey, thank you again for taking time out to chat with us. And for anyone interested in listening to more interviews in the Executive Interview Series, you can visit us at kermisconsulting.com. And for both Mike and myself, this is Kevin Kermis, signing off.